All right, so we missed the autumnal equinox as a group, so we're going to make up for that tonight. And we'll do I think, a pretty chill flow to welcome the balance and to also welcome change. I think that's my favorite part of the seasons is that every time, at least in Utah, growing up in California, we did not have seasonal changes, but in Utah, I feel like we have this opportunity to remind ourselves 4 times a year that welcoming change, change is good. It's okay for things to not be the same routine. Maybe that's good to shake things up. So that's going to be we're welcoming change today and welcoming the balance of light and dark. And if we're ready, we're actually going to get started standing. I'm sorry. So if you want to meet me on the mat, standing on the mat. But of course, if you're not feeling good, you can always do this seated in a chair. So we're just going to start in a Tadasana, or a nice little mountain pose to welcome ourselves into the practice. And since we normally start our yoga practice seated, I wanted to change it up a little bit since the equinoxes are a great opportunity for us to welcome that change, like I was talking about. So let's do something a little different. Let's do some change. But if standing is not feeling good for you, you can always do the seated as well, or even on your knees. But beginning here, finding if you remember my Kung Fu move, really pushing the balls of the feet into the earth, feeling the heels become heavy, the toes maybe gripping, but pressing into the earth, feeling the calves slowly coming up the legs, everything's starting to ignite. The calves, your knees are gently bent, but your hips are active, your thighs are active, your glutes are active. All the way through the core, feel the spine starting to elongate, feel the shoulders strengthen, and the fingers reaching down to the earth that we are connecting to. And the energy becomes a cycle, just like our seasons. I'll take 3 slow breaths here. If you're feeling it, maybe with those slow breaths, rolling the shoulders forward and backwards. With each slow inhale, feeling your spine elongating, maybe you feel getting a little bit taller. And with each exhale, feeling your body becoming heavier. There's a difference between squishing down and just feeling heavy, pressing into the earth. And do one final welcoming breath, reminding yourself that you are here and you are present. Before we move on to too much else, let's take a gentle step to either side so that our feet are just at hip distance apart. We're going to do a little forward fold here. So I'll have my hands on my hips, or if you're really feeling it, you could have the hands behind the back, interlaced in the fingers. In either case, let the heart space pull out in front of you, guiding you down into a forward fold. And even if your forward fold stops halfway, that's okay. But if you can lean forward, maybe you're using a block, press your hands into, or just letting your hands hang low, or letting your fingers, if they're interlaced behind the back, pull up toward the ears. Just taking a moment to find some kind of solace in this reverse position. Wherever you are, take one more slow, deep inhale. And on the exhale, release the knees and slowly come up vertebrae by vertebrae. And we'll come back into our standing position. And again, if you're not feeling very well, or if you're congested with allergies like I am, standing up quickly is not good. So definitely move slowly today. All right, let's take our toes out to the side, heels come in. We're going to come into a star pose and then to a goddess. We'll move back and forth a couple times, finding that balance through the movement. So I'm going to start with my star posture. So pressing into the mat, reaching my fingers out opposite directions, and maybe pulling my arms back. So yeah, you could have your arms here, but maybe we pull the arms back just a little bit, feeling the elbows coming back to open up the chest. Inhaling here deeply. And then on the exhale, pulling the elbows down and bending the knees out to the side into goddess. Feel the balance between the bent elbows and the bent knees. Knees should be bending to the outside, not collapsing in. So it's very aggressive on this part. Okay, we're going to do this a few more times. So inhale, reaching back out to star. Maybe the face comes up this time to the ceiling. And then exhale back down into our goddess. Inhale to star, reaching the fingers. Really feel the fingers reaching away from the body. Maybe the toes are pressing into the mat this time. Maybe a little tiny back bend. And then exhale, knees and elbows bend. Feel the tailbone sending energy down toward the mat. And once more, inhale slowly, reaching out. Maybe a little more of a back bend this time. And then exhale, coming down into that goddess. See if you can come down maybe a little deeper this time, if that's feeling good for you. And release. Ooh, I woke you up a little fast, didn't I? Okay, so shake it out. Take out the legs, take out the arms. A little nice little somatic and exercise. I like to do this with my students as well. My high school students, that is. Just because I think it's funny to make them do this. All right. We're going to move our way slowly into a tree posture, since it is the autumnal equinox. And if you're around these parts, you see beautiful changes in the trees. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with a little bounce. So pressing into your left foot, feel the weight on all four corners of that left foot. Activating the left leg so your hip doesn't stick out. Inhale the right knee up. Maybe the right knee comes up just enough that it's bent. The toes are still touching the mat. That's okay. Or maybe you let that knee rise all the way up to your waist. And if so, maybe you capture the knee with your interlaced fingers. Press the knee into the fingers, pull back the fingers against the knee, stretching the shoulder blades. Inhale, and then we're going to exhale and step back into a high lunge. All right, so inhale, exhale, high lunge. Bring those arms up to a nice crescent. Inhale and exhale, pressing into that left foot again. The right knee floats up once more. And this time, capture the right knee with your left hand, and then reach the right arm back behind you. Now, if you need to, again, you can put your leg down to do this twist. You can hold on to a wall. See if you can find that balance. Pulling that belly button into the spine, really feeling the arms stretching back, opening up the shoulders, opening up the heart space. Woo, falling over. We all fall. Everybody falls. Inhale, and then exhale. We're going to step back to that high lunge again. So slowly stepping back, high lunge, arms reaching up for a crescent. Excellent. On your exhale, stepping through the left foot, coming up. The left knee will rise up once more. And if you want to hold onto the knee, you can, or see if you can bring that right hand to the toes and kicking out. And of course, maybe your knee is bent this time. Maybe you're stretching all the way out. It's up to you. Take 2 breaths here wherever you're at. And then stepping back to that high lunge once more. I think you see our rhythm here. Reaching those arms up for a crescent. And this next time, we're going to move into our tree pose. So inhale and exhale, pressing to the left foot, bending that right knee, the knee comes out to the side. And again, it can stay right down here. or bring that left or right foot up to your calf or your inner thigh, really pressing that right knee out. Belly button comes into the spine, holding onto a wall, a chair, or hands to heart. Find that drishti, that focal point. Imagine yourself being one of those trees that's outside. We're celebrating how trees are changing, and so we're celebrating how we can change as well. Hold on right here, or let your arms reach out like the branches of those trees that we see. And like today was really breezy outside. So if you feel like adding a breeze into your tree, go for it. And if not, remember, this is your practice. You do you. All right, and release. Bring the legs back to that nice hip distance apart, and we'll do one more forward fold before we do the other side. Okay, so from here again, heart space reaches out, hands are on the hips or behind the back. Maybe the hands reach down to the mat. Maybe we do something a little different this time. Maybe you grab the elbows and rock back and forth. Maybe you grab behind the leg. Whatever feels good for you right now. But taking a moment to really embrace this inversion. We don't invert ourselves very often during the day, so it's nice for a little change. Change of view, change of perspective. And release and slowly come up. Now remember, if you are not feeling well or if you have allergies like this girl every fall. Okay, and then we're going to work on the other side. So this time, weight goes onto the right foot. Really feel the weight go into all four corners of the right foot. And then the leg becomes active, knee is bent. Make sure that the hip doesn't stick out. And then we'll either inhale the left knee bent, toes on the mat, or bringing that left knee all the way up to your hip. Capture that knee, press into the hands, hands pull back on the knees, stretching out the shoulders. Maybe give a few circles of the ankle. And then release, stepping all the way back, high lunge, arms coming. Inhale and exhale. Once more, bringing that knee up. Maybe the knee just stays bent, toes are touching the mat. Maybe the knee comes all the way up. If it's here, you can grab the right hand on the left knee and send the left hand back behind you. Really working on thinking of how that arm is really active in pulling your shoulder open behind you. Pulling that belly button into the spine, activating that core. And take one more breath wherever you're at and step back to that high lunge again. And remember, if you're not feeling it, maybe your high lunge is just this, and that's okay. If you're not feeling well, honor your body. Reaching the arms up. Inhale and exhale. Once we're stepping onto the right foot, bringing that left knee up. And you could just grab the left knee or hold the left knee where we're at. Or you can float that knee up and grab the left toes with the left hand. Maybe you hold right here. Or maybe you kick that leg out. Pull that belly button into the spine. Find your drishti. Take a couple breaths wherever you're at. Okay, take one more breath. Inhale and exhale, stepping all the way back to that high lunge. Arms up. It's not a robbery. Okay, and last time, pressing through to the right foot, coming up, and we'll come into our tree pose. So from here, knee opens up and maybe just stays on the ankle. Maybe it comes to the calf, or maybe it comes up to the thigh. This is your practice. Knees opened out to the side. Everything is active. Hips stay under the torso. Belly button to spine. I know you know, but I'm just reminding. Hands to heart. Find that balance, that drishti. And after you've done all of that, maybe remind yourself to smile. It's okay. All right. And again, honoring the trees that are going through the change of the seasons. The beautiful colors that soon will leave them bare, but they will all come back again. Add in those branches to welcome this change, if you want. Add in a little wind. Take one more deep breath and release. Oh my goodness. What have I done to you all? I'm so sorry. Okay. So we're going to actually step back to the back of the mat and we're going to do we're going to go back down onto the mat. Okay. So reaching the arms up to the ceiling, little extended mountain. Exhale, forward fold. And now we're going to crawl forward. So hands moving forward. We're going to bring us down onto our hands and knees. You see how I'm trying to do things just to change it up because it's the change of seasons. Okay, so our normal tabletop, and we're going to do cat-cow. But as per the usual, we want to make sure that we are balancing our breath and movement, equal inhale, equal exhale, as we come through with cat-cow. You can do this at your own pace, but really focusing on equal breath, inhaling for our cow, exhaling for our cat. Or if you want to do the opposite, you could just to switch it up. There's the change of season. Whatever you do, though, I invite you to find equal breath, equal inhale, and equal exhale. Make yourself go through, I shouldn't say make yourself, invite yourself. Have yourself go through one more cycle of inhale and exhale. And then we're going to send ourselves back into a child's pose for a moment. So knees as wide as the mat, toes together, send the hips back, reaching arms out forward, or if you want to keep them at the sides, whatever is going to work for you best. If your arms are reached down in front of you, feel the side body stretching. So as you reach forward, maybe reach a little extra with the right arm, feel that right side body stretch, and then release. And then do the same with the left. Then just keep going back and forth, finding that balance. And I invite you while you were here to maybe consider, in the change of seasons, I like to change my mantras, whatever 3 or 4 mantras I want to carry with me for the next few months. And even if you don't know a mantra right now or an intention right now for the next few months, that's a lot of commitment. Just remind yourself and invite yourself to think about this over the next few days, maybe within the next week. Find an intention or a mantra that you would like to keep close to your heart until we see winter. Okay, we'll slowly release out of this child's pose and we'll come into a more traditional child's pose with the knees close together. So the knees are together, send the hips back, and we're gonna do a little movement here. So from this traditional, so it looks like lightning pose. My heels are under my butt, my knees are close together, my hands are reached out in front of me. I'm gonna inhale, coming up like a wave, and then slowly lowering down into an upward facing dog, or not up dog, or you can be even lower as well. A little baby back bend here. And then from this, sending all hips all the way back, reaching the arms forward. And we'll go back and forth through this a few times. Be gentle with the lower back. Listen to what it needs. Inhale through like a wave, coming down, and maybe you come all the way down to the mat and gently come up through a sphinx, lowering, and then coming back again. So keep doing this movement, coming back into our child's pose, and then rolling the spine like a wave. We'll come into either an upward facing dog, or maybe we are more in a sphinx if we want to be a little more gentle with the lower back. And just keep moving back and forth. And we'll do this about 2 more times, working the arms, but also working our lungs, our gut, making sure to take good deep breaths with each of these movements and deep exhales as we go back to our child's pose. Okay, one more time. And we'll pause here in our tabletop. From tabletop, we're actually going to transition onto our back for a little bit. So you were right. Yes, we're going to have to do some floor work. We just weren't starting that way. Okay, so I'm going to come back onto my back, or at least onto my seated position. Stretching my feet out in front of me, pointing and flexing the toes, getting a good stretch of the ankles and the calves. And then stretching those arms up. And exhale, bending forward as far as feels comfortable. And you can use your shins, your toes. We'll take a minute here. You can also use a belt. I'm going to grab my belt, which I randomly threw over here. I don't know why I don't have it with me. We're going to do a little forward fold here for a minute. And if you'd like, you can always use a belt for this to pull the body forward. Try not to crouch the back, crunch the back, keeping the heart space leading the way. And it's okay if your face does not meet the shins. Taking a deep breath in and then exhale a little bit closer. Continuing to breathe and get closer, whether you're using the belt, which I quite like, or if you're even grabbing the toes. And like always, if you're grabbing the toes, see if you can pull those elbows in. My lower back is a little tight right now, I'm noticing, so I can't even get where I normally would be. We have to be gentle with ourselves when we can't meet those marks every single day. Take one more nice deep breath here, release, and then we'll slowly come back onto our back. So I'm gonna keep my knees bent and lower down vertebrae by vertebrae. How we get here is how you get here. Okay. Let's stretch those legs out in front. Shake them out if that feels good. And then we're gonna bring up one leg. I'm gonna press my left leg into the mat and let my right leg come up. Grab my hands behind the leg. If you need to, you could also use your belt right behind the legs or even over the foot if you need to. So just taking that leg to stretch it out. If you need the belt, use the belt. Okay, but pulling the knee closer to you, gentle with the backs of the leg, breathing in. And then release, bringing the knee, just one knee into the chest and give it a nice hug. And then allowing the right knee to come to the side, almost like a supine tree pose. So I've put my foot down next to my thigh, and I'm just going to let my right knee fall over to the right. So opening up here, taking a moment, we'll just take about 2 or 3 breaths here. And I'm going to have my hands on my belly, one hand on the belly, one hand on the chest, and just take a moment to witness the breath. Maybe witness the heartbeat. And release, stretching that right leg out. Shake them out if you need to. And then we'll do the same thing with the left leg. So pressing the right leg into the mat, inhale the left leg up, capture behind the leg, either with your hand or with the belt. Maybe stretch out the ankles again. Then bringing that left knee into the chest, give that a nice hug. And then release the left foot next to the right thigh and allow the left knee to fall open to the side. Now, for some people, this might be a little, you might need, I should have mentioned this before, you can always put a block or a blanket underneath the knee to support it if it doesn't quite feel comfortable falling open to the side. And release. Okay, from here, we're gonna do a little core work. Don't be mad at me, but we have to do it before the end of our class. Okay, so from here, we'll do a stretching, what I call the good morning stretch, with toes and fingers stretch opposite directions. And then we will crumple up, knees into chest, bringing the head up, if that's in your practice, and squish, give yourself a hug, knees to nose, and nose to knee. And then reaching out, we'll do this 3 times. So reaching out, good morning stretch. Inhale and exhale. Squeeze the knees and the knees to nose. And then once more, stretching out, good morning stretch. And then last time, squeeze the knees. I don't know, I'm so entertained by that. I apologize. And release. Ooh, my back just popped. Okay, from here, releasing the legs out, we're gonna come into a Supta Baddha Konasana, bottoms of the feet together, allowing the knees to fall to the side. And once more, hands to heart and belly. And we'll stay here for 3 breaths. Slowly inhaling and exhaling. Considering that intention for the seasonal change, or that mantra, or just being open to letting the universe decide for you. Okay, and from here, let's bring those knees back once more. And this time we'll do a little happy baby, grabbing the sides of the feet, pulling those knees in toward the armpit, and breathing, maybe giving a little rock back and forth. And when we're ready, we're going to release and roll back into a seated position. Okay, so coming into the seated position that we normally start in, finding a nice and comfortable seat. Take a minute to kind of stretch out by doing a few circles. So pressing our sits bone into mat and letting our chest, our heart space lead the way in circles. I've started going to the left first and then back. When we come back, we're arching the back, belly button to the spine. And then as we come forward, the heart space opens again. So think of this as we are emulating the seasons. Everything is cyclical. We're emulating the sun and the moon as they rise and they set. And then go ahead and switch directions if you haven't already done so. And then finally come to a good stopping point. And from here, we will go ahead and close our class. Go so quickly. Pressing through, sits bones pressing into the mat. Inhale, arms up overhead, bringing in all the beautiful autumn energy that we can. Palms together. Exhale, hands to heart, bowing.